This is lesson 12.3, and I'm going to show you how to create a box and whiskers plot of a set of data. Box and whiskers plot is a useful tool to see how the data is spread out. That was our previous lesson was about dispersion and how the data the spread of the data, and we looked at the range. So today we're going to look at another way to see the spread of the data, where the data is clustering. So to get started, I'm going to give you a visual representation of a box and whiskers plot. So there's some basic parts. So I'll start with the whiskers, and then there's this box formation, and then another set of whiskers. So the box and whiskers. And in the box, there's usually some line drawn at some part. Perhaps I'll put it here. Okay. And each of these represents a number with respect to the data. So this left dot right here is the minimum value. And this end is the maximum value. If you remember that we measured the center of the data, this is the center, and this is a measurement of the median of the data, not the mean, not the mode, but we use the median. So right here is the median. And then so you can see that there's actually 4 sections. There's this first section, the second, the third in the box, and then the fourth, represented by the end whisker. And we call those quartiles. Okay, and so the first quartile is this section, and it ends with the beginning of the box. So this number right here will be Q1, or another way to say that is the first quartile. So what that is saying is that 25%, or 1/4 of your data, falls on the whisker and ends here. So this Q1 is the measure of where the quartile ends. So here is 25% of all of your data. Okay, and so this next part is the next 25%. So we call the median Q1, excuse me, Q2. Q2, and so we don't usually refer to it as Q2, usually we just say the median, but it is the second quartile. And then finally, or not finally actually, the third quarter of your data, so this is the next 25%. So this is the end right here, would be Q3, or the third quartile. And the last quarter of your data is defined by the maximum point, so in this region. All right, so this in this box is 50% of your data falls within this range of values. You could say 75% falls below in this region. So there's different ways to break this up and to study your data. Today I'm just going to teach you how to create this box. It's pretty easy, but you do have to get 5 values. So you have to get the min, Q1, the median or Q2, Q3, and the max to do it. Okay, once you get those values, it's very easy to draw the box and whiskers plot. So I will do that with an example. Okay, and so here is example. I'm going to look at the ages of the members of the U.S. Women's wheelchair basketball team. So this is a group of women who compete internationally, an amazing set of athletes who compete in the Paralympics. And so here are their ages. So go ahead and copy these down. "24, 30, 30, 22, 25, 22, 18, 25, 28, 30, 25, and 27. All right, so there are their ages. Now, the very first step in creating the box and whiskers would be to put these in order. Remember, every time we want to do a median, we're going to need an ordered set. So step one is that we're going to find the ordered. All right, so I'm just going to read those off for you. 18, 22, 22 twice. All right, 24. Then there are 3 25s, 1, 2, 3. So 25 3 times. And then 27 and 28. And then there are, the number 30 occurs 3 times, 1, 2, and 3. All right, so let's count how many numbers are in the set. That's going to help us break it up into these quarters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I have a nice set of numbers that is actually divisible by 4. So breaking that up into quarters is pretty easy to do. So if I do 1/4 of 12, 1/4 of my count, I get 3. So each one of these, there should be 3 numbers in each quarter. So right here, I'm going to actually put a split. Let's break it up. 1, 1, 2, 3. So I have 6 numbers in the first half. And you can see I have 6 numbers in the second half. And then this group of 3, right, there we go. So there's my quartiles. And I can see that my lowest number, so this is going to be my min, and this will be my max. So I've got 2 numbers out of the 5 I need. So there are 5, sometimes we call this the 5 number summary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got the max and the min. Now I need to know where the quartile values will be. These are all, in effect, medians. All quartile numbers are median values. So remember what a median is. It's the number in the middle. So for instance, if I look at the median of the entire data set, right here is my middle, and there's 2 numbers around it. So remember how we get that value. So our median is the average of those 2. Now I know since it's the same, since they're the same number, then the median is itself 25. But just to recall, we take those 2 numbers, 25 plus 25, and we divide by 2. And that should give us the middle number for those 2. So that's 50 over 2, which is 25. Okay, which is what we thought. So that's my Q2 number. Okay, and then I repeat it for this quartile here. So remember, that's Q1. And so again, this time it's not as obvious, but maybe you can think of what numbers between 22 and 24, right? So you can think of it that way, but I'm going to go ahead and show the mechanics in case you're doing an example for homework and then you're trying to think of what it is, and it's a little harder. So remember that we add those 2 numbers together and we divide by 2. So that gives us 46 in the numerator. Divide that by 2, you get 23. So Q1 is 23. And then finally, the 5th part of our survey. So remember, we've got the min, the max, we've got Q1 and Q2. So now I'm going to do Q3. And I need the number between 28 and 29, 28 and 30, which would be 29. Again, add them together, divide by 2. All right, so there's my 5-number summary. Min is 18, the max is 30, Q1 23, Q2 25, Q3 29. So now what we have to do is to construct a number line so that we can place all this data and draw the box. All right, so I'm going to start with, at the bottom of my page, I'm going to place the number line. So using the grid lines, okay, now there's about 30 boxes going across, so I want to make evenly spaced intervals. You use the min and the max to know what the range of values are. So I'm starting at 18 and I need to go to 30. So I need my number line to cover that many numbers. So I think I'll be able to fit just counting by ones. If you can't fit by counting by ones, then you might need to make it count by fives or 4 or whatever you need. Maybe you're doing decimal values, so you want 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, so you have to kind of gauge the number line that you need for your data set. But use the max and the min to know the end points. So I'm going to start at 18 and just count by ones. 19, 20. I won't write every number just to save a little time. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and here's 30. Okay, so there's my number lines ready to go. And now what I'm going to do is plot a point above it. So just imagine that you're going to put a box up here. So I'm just going to leave a little space between it and the number line. So I'll just raise it up a little bit higher. So min value right above 18, I'm going to place a dot. I'm going to put a dot above 23. Then Q2 is 25. Q3 is 29. And 30 is my max. Okay, so remember the structure here. Okay, so the box, the min and the max are the ends of the whiskers. And then the ones in the middle, I'm going to be placing bars for. So here is Q1, I place a bar at Q2 and at Q3. And so that creates the box structure. I just need to connect the bottom and the top of the box. And then I draw the whiskers to connect the box to the min. And then to connect the box to the max. And there's my box and whiskers. So I can see that 25% of the data is between 18 and 23 years old. 23% of the women's wheelchair basketball team members are in this range. And then there's another 25% of them that have an age range from 23 to 25. So a little tighter. And then a little bit more spread out in age right here. There's another 25%. From ages of 25 up to 29 years of age. And the last 25%, actually they're all 30, but this would represent a spread. Okay, so it's a very small spread, the smallest spread of all of these. All right, so using a very nicely organized number line will help us to see how the data is spread out. So you can see this is not very well balanced. They actually call this a left skewed box or box and whiskers because the left side is much longer than the right side. So this is called a left skewed. You won't be asked to interpret that, but I just want you to be able to draw it. Okay, so why don't you get out your textbook and start practicing.